All right, he's been patient enough. Let's bring in Mr. Ivan FX, the man himself. Hey, Ivan, how are you?
I'm all right. And you?
I'm good. Good to have you back on the show. Hey, and I just want to say I messaged you on Discord, but thank you on Friday for taking over the stream for me. That is always appreciated. You're a stream favorite to everyone, so I always know I can trust the stream in your hands if I suddenly have to go.
I did reply though, but yeah.
You did reply? Did I not see it? I might have missed your message.
I replied.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like you just ignore me just to keep me guessing. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I do.
Ivan, what are you watching? We got a new week in front of us. It's Monday. Market's getting going here. What are you paying attention to?
Well, I was just looking at the euro, and I was wondering, why do you want to sell it?
I don't want to sell it here. I'm only interested if it pulls back deeper.
Yeah.
So my big thought here is purely just, okay, we had this consolidation for several weeks. The dollar just kept chopping back and forth. And of course, the euro sort of being that inverse, chopped back and forth as well. Now that we had some sudden dollar bullishness, I'm not necessarily a super, big bull on the dollar, but part of it is I think it's potentially a trade because again, retail is piled into a long trade here. I think in terms of economic numbers, I think I generally like the dollar a little bit more if I had to pick one. And I like the technical move. It's a breakout here underneath the lows, a pullback into this fib level. For me, looks like I could probably get some decent risk reward. And if I don't, I'll just look to stop out. So that's my thought. What are you thinking? What are you thinking on the euro? Are you trading it at all?
Hey traders, would you like some help with technical analysis? Well, lucky for you, we're giving away a free technical analysis guide. That's right, completely free. It's an entire guide all around technical analysis. The guide includes subjects like support and resistance trading, MACD indicators, trend lines, candlestick pattern trading, RSI indicators, and much more. So make sure to click the link in the description, fill out that information, and we'll email you a technical analysis guide right away.
Now, also the reason why I mentioned is because just to mention for everyone that there's two big forces right now. It is the risk of default if they could on the debt level if they can't raise it, and the other side is monetary policy, which makes weaker dollar. So there's two very big forces. That's kind of why I mentioned it. But yeah, we have to see. Well, I believe that ceiling is going to be lifted in the West in the end. So in the meantime, that can lead to dollar bullishness, yes, but I think overall it's going to be dollar bearishness in the end.
I would agree. I think, and we'll see if time proves us right or wrong on that, Ivan. But I would say that the debt ceiling, we've seen this happen before in the United States, and what generally happens is they string it out as long as possible. They keep everybody concerned and guessing, a little bit fearful, and then they come to resolve, and then it's all over. And, so I think that if you're trying to buy the dollar out of that potential fear situation, it may have a little bit of a trade in it. There may be a pop in the short term, but I'm not necessarily super optimistic for the dollar. Like you said, inflation last week, PPI numbers, CPI numbers, they came out cooler than expected. And so I'm generally looking for dollar pullbacks to sell into. So I don't love the dollar though right now. We were talking about this earlier on the stream. There's a pretty impressive breakout. What's your take on DXY right now?
Believe it or not, this is a trade plan that I've had, or a trade idea that I've had for some time now. And I guess it's at least for the past, 4 days now. Before it popped, I thought, I think we're going to go higher now. More like because the dollar was, technically more exhausted. It didn't make a new lower low. It was kind of a range. And with the data coming out, we tended to go higher. And it has absolutely done exactly what I wanted to do. So for those who are dollar bullish, seems to be game time soon.
Yeah, no, it's it does seem like it has some room to go, and until there's sign of failure, I'm not really. the only dollar cross that I'm semi-interested in short term is that euro idea that I shared with you. I'm still long gold. I'm watching that to see, because I think, Ivan, what's interesting about gold specifically is that gold could benefit from some of the same factors that we talked about with the debt ceiling crisis. If there's concerns there, it could see a short-term pop. I discussed that on my podcast episode recently with Oana's senior market analyst, Ed Moya. Him and I were discussing that. And he made the point that the fundamentals for gold seem pretty bullish for that case. You have the banking situation, which is a bit concerning. You have the debt crisis or the debt ceiling situation, which could suddenly become very pressing on markets. People may look at gold a little bit closer during that. And that could be, I'm not saying it will be, but any trigger there could cause a potential run for maybe a new high in gold. And that's usually for traders who pay attention to gold. I want to say something. When it comes to all-time highs, what happens with gold to get us to new all-time highs is almost uniformly some sort of major fear event. If we just do a history lesson real quick, what brought us there the last 2 times? Well, in 2020, that's pretty clear, right? Markets were terrified of inflation. They were terrified of supply chain shutdowns during the COVID lockdown. Well, what about the last time? In March of 2022, well, Russia invaded Ukraine. These are both fear-driven events. And so the question is, we're back there, we're testing yet again. What gets us to new highs? Something of fear substance to really take hold of the markets. Will that be the debt ceiling? I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know. I'm saying that is a potential candidate. I guess you kind of have to think about. What are your takes on gold, Ivan? Would you agree you need some sort of serious catalyst to get us there?
Yeah, I would argue a banking crisis. If you see 11th of March or around there when SVB was collapsing, gold initially went higher after that. So yeah, that would definitely be the catalyst. You have to have a deterioration. You have to have more banks or even bigger banks that all of a sudden starts deteriorating and filing for bankruptcy or being bought up by JP Morgan. So yeah, that's definitely the story you need to look for. When it comes to the story of inflation, it's like, what was that supposed to be now? If inflation goes lower, dollar goes lower, gold goes higher, that might also be the story to look forward to. Those are 3 stories because in trader stories, yeah.
That's why I've been so bullish on it, is because I think there's several potential triggers, but then like you just mentioned, with the dollar weakness potential that could happen, that drift, that inflation concerns dwindling, that drift higher could also occur. So that's why, of course, this is my speculation. I'm making an educated guess here. For those in the audience, I am not saying I know the future with what's going to happen with gold. Ivan and I are big advocates of when you trade, when you watch somebody on YouTube, we are not here to do your homework for you. We're not, the kid on the playground that takes your $3 to do your homework. We're not here doing that. We are trading our own money. We're doing our own thing. We're sharing our own opinions. But I want to say that, I can be wrong. I could be completely off on this. And if that happens, I'll get a couple mean comments and I'll cry about it for just a little bit. And then I'll be on to my next idea. But this is trading. Trading, you're wrong sometime. And Ivan is laughing because he knows, this is it's a hard game to play, and when you're doing it publicly, you can be wrong. Please do not take what I'm saying as certainty. It is not certainty whatsoever. But I think for me personally, the odds here that we see a gold price to the high makes a lot of sense, and that's where I'm positioned personally. So full transparency, I do have positions long on gold as we speak. So enough on gold. Ivan, take us somewhere else. What else are we looking at? Are you still looking at any NZD pairs?
Oh, thank you for asking. It's lovely out there, right?
Oh, is it? Let's see it.
I was buying Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and then it fell. And then on Thursday and Friday, it just says goodbye, and it went higher. So I'm like scattered. I'm like, am I supposed to buy this one now? Like, I can't. So I'm like, okay, I want to buy it, but I really can't because we really are not at support. We are at micro support, which generally doesn't hold. So Yes, I am continuously, because now we have a potentially bullish trend again. So yeah, I am still scattered looking for buys on Euro, New Zealand, also New Zealand, and selling New Zealand dollar CAD, trying to find it coming up to 84.60.
Okay. Yep, you're still watching those NZD. So you're predominantly bearish on NZD. What is, so you're looking at Aussie, you're looking at CAD. Why specifically those two, Australian dollar and Canadian dollar? Do you have a particular reason, or do you just like the chart setups?
No, it's just the New Zealand weakness. Whatever can be strong against New Zealand, I will take it. So it's basically in my world, seasonality. New Zealand is generally very weak in this period, which it has been to some degree, and some degree not. So that's just my trading idea, and then I have to confirm that with technical analysis. So now we are back to weakness again.
Fair enough. What do you think about any thoughts on indices going into this week? I know NASDAQ was very strong last week. I think since it's been pulling back a little bit. Any thoughts on any of them? NASDAQ, S&P?
Oh, if I just became the expert in NASDAQ and I will mint money left, right, and center whenever things happen, sure do. But by my surprise, NASDAQ is actually continuing higher. So I guess we are back to buying support and resistance again, breakout retest, as this one is actually rising higher. And as long as we don't break below 13,300, then sure, if it goes back down again, we can at least look for another buy higher.
Yeah, and I want to add something, Ivan. You mentioned about seasonality. I'll show you something I just pulled up on your NZD CAD idea. So I'm looking at the EdgeFinder seasonality during the month of May. And to your point, so what you can see here is that over the last 10 years, on average, we see the pretty much April, May, and June historically showing weakness on that particular pair, NZD CAD. So for those of you guys who were maybe a little bit curious what Ivan meant by that seasonality component that he was mentioning. So seasonality is the study of sort of seasonal trends, whether it be a month of the year, a week of the month, a day of the week, right? There's all different sorts of seasonal trends that you can observe and study. And Ivan is a big proponent of that. Ivan, part of the reason we added to the EdgeFinder that concept of seasonality was because you constantly talked about it. We were like, hey, that's Ivan's thing. So yes, seasonal stuff can be very, very useful. And remember, guys, just a shout out. Remember, we are doing free trials available if you guys want to play around with the seasonality data yourself on the EdgeFinder for free. We're not taking credit cards. We're not doing any of that stuff. You can try it genuinely for free. If you want to check it out, click this link right below my head right here. Click that link, direct message us, and ask for a free trial today. You can check it out for yourself. You can use some of our data. And then also, Ivan, I wanted to follow up. So we're talking NASDAQ. You said buying retests after breakouts. I'm kind of with you. My question for you, though, is do you trade in this situation? Do you focus on the NASDAQ, or do you focus on the more lagging indices like the S&P, which has not been able to break the highs, right? The NASDAQ benefiting massively from a lot of tech stocks performing very well. Google, Meta, Apple, Amazon, all of them catching good, strong bids and dragging the NASDAQ higher. Or do you focus on one of the slower moving ones that are lagging behind right now, like the Dow, the US 30, which, I mean, this chart even looks somewhat bearish, right, on that 4-hour chart. So it's an interesting divergence. What do you think? Do you focus, do you continue to look at the winner, or do you look at the ones that are lagging behind?
Why not look at the winner chicken dinner?
Yeah,
I am. I'm fully aware of that. What do you call it? S&P is somehow range bound, which is kind of somehow expected. There's also the saying, I guess, the theory about sell in May and go away, which kind of hasn't happened yet. So until that happens, and I believe once the debt ceiling situation has been resolved, which in my opinion will be resolved, we're going to see a fresh rally. So it's just to get in before that kind of happens.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I do think that it is a passing trade. The question is, if you had to pick one, would you trade the S&P 500? Okay, let's just put you on a position. You either have to buy and hold gold for a month or buy and hold the S&P for 1 month. It's a call option on one or the other. It expires at the end of 1 month from now. Which one would you be looking at? And of course, not financial advice. It's just we're having fun.
Nasdaq is more volatile, so I might end up in loss. S&P is less volatile, so I guess I will do S&P 500 in case we all fall down.
So S&P. What about S&P or gold? Which one would you rather hold? I'm making it trickier.
Ouch. That one is difficult. Okay. I'll take gold.
Okay. All right. See, that's kind of where I'm at as well. If I had to pick between the two, I'm currently more interested in gold because I think that there are more triggers that could cause upside move there. We'll see if I'm right about that. We'll see if we're wrong about that. This is the fun of the show. We are, we're not claiming we know everything. We are here to trade just like everybody else.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EdgeFinder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.